good news can often get overlooked or buried by the negative in our everyday lives. So let's change that. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Wyatt.
We're just two ordinary people without any special qualifications or anything trying to navigate life. We invite you to join us as we share wholesome stories, news articles of hope, and ideas about how we can all make the world just a little bit brighter. We are uplifting positive stories. Welcome back to another episode of Uplifting Positive Stories. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Welcome to the month of July, and hope you guys all have fun plans for 4th of July, especially with it being the
States, yeah.
250th year anniversary for those who
that's right.
want to make that a big deal or not. To me, a year's a year, but I know it's a big deal. The iconography is everywhere for it.
Yeah, it's a big deal, but yeah, we're excited. My mom's throwing a little party. I'm gonna go with Darian, my son, to that. Got him a little cute little red and white shirt with a little blue overall set, so he's gonna look all cute and ready to go.
I will be working,
He's gonna be covering the fireworks,
which is maybe I have to work like a normal day as well.
Yeah, but you get to see the fireworks. That's cool.
That'll be part of it. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit indifferent as well, because I have to work. It's a work day for me. It's not a holiday.
Yeah,
this year it rotates.
Yeah, but
and it also apologies in advance if we hear occasional like baby gargle sounds. He's half active over there right now. It's like he's in between like sleepy tiredness and like full-blown awakeness. Obviously we wouldn't be recording if he was full-blown awake.
Yeah, so we'll see. He might nap pretty shortly here, I think so.
We'll find out.
Well, today's episode is all called A Little Creativity, and it's all about how there's a lot of things we can do in life to try to make someone's day brighter. That might just be something that you have to be a little creative to think about. So like, for example, we at one point went and got some Cub Foods gift cards to go give around to people that needed something, and we handed them out to people. And there's a lot of examples today of those kind of things, of people being creative and ways to do a little kindness for somebody. And I know for me, like, I'm going to be candid here, I've had like some struggles, as I talked about in the last episode, with like depression and stuff. And depression, I found like they say like a big counterpart to that is like gratitude. But another thing I've found that can really help like lift spirits is being creative and thinking about what's some ways that I could lift someone else's day up. And that can really do a lot, I've noticed, in terms of uplifting my own spirits. It's like, what can I do for somebody else to lift their spirits? And seeing that, it lifts your own, and it can kind of help with that kind of thing. So I just think this is a great thing, an exercise to try. Even if you don't have the means to do it, think about some things that'd be cool to do that would make you happy to do for somebody else or for a group of people.
Well, it's kind of double-edged, double-edged of goodness, where, you're taking the negative thoughts off of yourself onto how am I going to do something good for somebody else. Maybe you don't want to give yourself that because you're too stuck in your own head or whatever you're dealing with. But to then like, I'm going to focus on giving somebody else like a good time or a good experience and make them happy. Plus, the other side of it, you're engaging your creativity,
right?
Which is a whole different part of your brain that is getting exercise and stuff.
Yeah. And like for me, one thing that I did this weekend as like an exercise while I was working, as I was thinking about what are some fun things that I could do for my son when he gets a little bit older, once he's like in those 1 to 2 year old range, when he can start really interacting with that kind of stuff, and like what are some things that would probably make his day to do. And I just kind of started generating ideas and writing them down on like a little Word document. Things like that doesn't have to be to strangers, but things for strangers can also be really awesome too. So we're going to go through some things like that people did for others. Our first one comes from the subreddit Random Acts of Kindness, and it is titled, "My 4-year-old son accidentally started a donut economy by being kind."
Accidentally?
Yeah, here we go. "A little kindness goes a long way. We were sitting in a Dunkin drive-thru around 6:30 this evening. You hush. Mama needs your coffee. I don't care what time it is."
Yeah, gotta get your coffee.
The young lady at the window seemed exhausted and frazzled. My youngest son said, "Mom, will you tell her I love her?" I passed on his message. "My 4-year-old asked me to let you know that he loves you." Everything in her softened. Her shoulders, her hands, her jaw. She took a deep breath, and with the biggest smile, she slid a box of 10 chocolate munchkins into my hand that we hadn't ordered. I told her thank you and that it wasn't necessary. She said, "No, it was. He knew I needed that today." She asked me to pull up to the next window. When the next young woman came up with my drink, my son said, "Will you tell her that I love her too?" Again, I passed on his message. Her whole entire face lit up. She said, "Well, I love him more." She asked, can they have donuts? I let her know we already got some at the last window. She asked if they could have more. Of course they wanted another 10 munchkins, lol, and we were headed to the park where we could share, so I said yes. She came back with an entire box of a dozen donuts. With a ton of free donuts in hand, we were able to share them with even more kids at the playground and make countless days brighter. Be kind, spread joy, it's not that hard, and you never know who needs it.
Okay, so not like a true economy of exchange of goods. It's
No.
more like donut to pay it forward, you know?
Yeah, but like...
And I don't go Dunkin' Donuts that much. I don't know how big a munchkin is.
I'm guessing they're little. I'm guessing they're
10's
small.
a lot if they're not little.
Yeah, right. I'm guessing they're small. But yeah, I think that's really cool. Like, and they didn't just take them home with them. They decided to pass them out at the park. And like, I thought, how cool would that be to do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know there's like laws about giving out food and stuff like that, but
always use best
yeah,
judgment and
but
stuff.
still, I think that's
don't
a really
be weird
sweet
and
story.
creepy about it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Having a small
really
child
sweet
with you
story.
probably gives you some legitimacy.
Yes. But I thought that was really sweet all around. Lots of sweet, like, again, like saying I love you. Like, that was a cute little thing that the kid did. But you can say something nice to a worker or a stranger that you never know if they could need that,
And that costs nothing.
It costs nothing.
Except maybe a little bit of courage.
Exactly.
We could all use a little bit of child courage, It's kind of crazy how they don't have the same like anxiety barriers, social stuff that we have as adults.
Right, 100%. Things that keep us held back. Think if we were more like kids, how much better life would be and how much more.
Well, even just like, filming weddings and stuff, like how many best man or maid of honor speeches involve them being little kids and like one of them comes to the other like, hey, I want to be your friend.
Right.
And, like, all right, let's be friends.
Exactly.
That's how easy it was. Can you imagine going up to an adult and just being like, hey, I want to be your friend?
Right.
No, it doesn't happen because we're weirdos that are like, what? Even though we all want friends.
Exactly.
Anyways, that's just kind of a side tangent.
100%. All right. Our next story comes from the subreddit Faith in Humanity. And this is what it says. A group of women called the 9 Nanas kept a secret for decades that not even their husbands knew. For 30 years, they met at 4 a.m. and anonymously paid bills and bought clothes for people in need. Each care package came with a homemade pound cake and a note that said, "Somebody loves you." Short, simple, sweet, but man,
The catchy
so
title,
awesome.
too.
Right?
The 9 Nanas.
The 9 Nanas. I just think that's really cool. I mean, it's kind of funny they met at 4 a.m. and their husbands didn't even know this was happening.
Yeah.
So, like, what if they caught them doing that and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're making pound cake at 3 a.m. to have our 4 a.m. meeting to go give this to somebody.
They are clearly heavy sleepers.
Yes, clearly. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea. And like, just the little note, like I know that has helped so many people from things I've read online of having a little note like you're loved or like you are enough or like things like that just sometimes people just need to hear it in that moment and you never know. But yeah, I just thought that was really, really cool. And it's things like that where like you see people paying for bills or getting like something that somebody needs. Like I know like in town we have Safe Haven, which is like a place for for women to go that are in like bad situations and stuff.
Moms
and, like,
as well, whole families can go there.
Yeah. I mean, their whole families can, But like they'll have like a drive at our church and stuff, and around Christmas time for like pajamas for kids and stuff like that.
Yep.
And like they'll have like a giving tree where you can buy like stuff off their Christmas list for their kids, so they can give them. I've heard you can give like birthday cake kits to like them, and like they say like if you put like a box of cake mix and like a soda can, the soda can double as like eggs in a cake mix because it's hard for them sometimes to get fresh ingredients like eggs and stuff like that. So if you give them like a foil tin or a foil like container for the cake to be cooked in, and then give them the cake mix, a can of soda, and birthday candles, like that can be huge because they might not otherwise be able to make a cake for their kid's birthday and not have the ingredients for it. So that's like a really cool way to do that from things I've read on Facebook. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
No, that's interesting.
There's a lot of cool creative ideas out there that you can look for of really cool ways to help people. And again, it can lift your own spirits too. Because it's pretty cool to know that could help somebody. All right, next one comes from Random Acts of Kindness, and it is titled, "Restocked my town's completely empty community pantry." Here's what it says. The little free pantry in my town was completely bare, and today I spent over $100 on groceries and restocked it completely. We got canned goods, some kids' stuff, baby food, pastas, snacks, apple juice, everything we could think of. It made me feel so amazing, and the best part was as I was walking out, I noticed a couple things were already gone as me and my boyfriend were driving home. We saw a man with a plastic grocery bag with a couple of things that I had just put out. That's honestly when I knew that what I had done was helping somebody immediately, and it made my heart full seeing how quickly someone got what they needed. Really cool. Again, if you have the means, like, that's a really cool thing to do. I just thought that was really neat because you see a lot of those kind of things. Or you'll see, like, they'll have, like, community book, like, things, like, where you can, like, people put out their books and stuff for people to take. And then they can replace it with a book that they're done with. And so if someone were to go, like, I don't know, to garage sales and get books and fill it up or something so that people that can't afford to do that have a way to get books. I don't know, just things like that. I think it's really, really cool. Another one that I've heard about is like they have scholastic book fairs at schools a lot, and so there's sometimes kids that can't afford to get books at those, whereas their friends have money and are able to go get books. And so one thing I've heard of is like somebody went to a teacher and was like, before the scholastic book fair is going to be in place, and was like, here's like $100, use this to disperse it to the kids that aren't going to the scholastic book fair because they don't have money for it, to let them each get a book. I don't know, like I don't know how feasible that's to do if your kid isn't in school or anything like that, but it's just cool ideas out there that I've read that I'm like, wow, that would be so cool for those kids. I don't know.
Yeah, taking back to this story, additionally they saw a need and then went out of their way, you know, to fulfill that need, which was that the pantry was empty.
Yeah.
And, you know, they used their own money, but they also used their time as well.
Exactly.
Because they were there and they drove to do the groceries and then restock. Like, that was a whole endeavor.
Yeah, 100%. Super cool. All right, on to our next one. This is just a little short and sweet. This one comes from Random Acts of Kindness, and it's titled, I did a good deed yesterday. I had 2 Dunkin gift cards that were worth $30.
This episode's not sponsored by Dunkin Donuts,
yeah, I know,
by the
it's
way.
a lot of Dunkin things.
I don't... You know, it's not common that we get 2 stories like from the same corporate branch line way, you know,
yeah,
or related to it, you know. I wouldn't say, yeah.
I went to my local Dunkin Donuts shop and I told the cashier to use them for customers when they order something, and then I left. So some folks didn't have to pay for themselves. Just another like cool idea, little something, and you just know that it made somebody's day. Another story that we had happen. Or that we didn't have it happen to us, but we witnessed it happening. We went to a Bridgman's, and there was an older couple that were out to eat, and they must have been talking to the waiter a bit while they were eating and stuff, and they found out that the waiter was going to go on a vacation somewhere. And so
vacation, some kind of trip.
Something.
The details a little more. We weren't trying to snoop or anything. So like we're picking up different things. We just caught the ending
of it, and like basically they gave him $100 tip. And like handed him $100 bill and were like, have a great time on your trip. And we were just like, whoa, that's incredibly nice. And I'm sure that kid went home and was just like super, super like, wow, that was the best shift, you know?
Well, we say kid. He's definitely an adult, but you know, like,
he
we're getting older.
Looked like he was like young college age.
Yeah.
Which to us, I don't know. It's now starting to seem younger and younger.
Yeah, we're 30 or almost 30 for you.
Yeah.
For those who are making assumptions based off of our appearances.
Yeah. Our next story comes from BORU Updates, otherwise known as Best of Redditor Updates, and it is titled, My Daughter Said I Ruined Her Childhood. Here we go.
That can be a real loaded statement depending on the situation and context.
But it's not.
For many people, that might be true and maybe not be on this podcast, but clearly there must be a positive spin to this for it to be here.
Yes. She is 18 and graduating next week. She often jokes to all of her friends that I traumatized her entire childhood because I wouldn't buy her calico critters, edit to add, aka Sylvanian families, as a kid. In my defense, she already collected Shopkins and Littlest Pet Shops, and I thought those were plenty expensive enough. Anyway, because it's been an ongoing joke, I decided to buy a lot of critters on eBay and dress them all up in grad stuff. Here's my creations and now my dilemma. Her grad party is next week, and I want to surprise her in some grand, hilarious way, but I'm just so creatively stumped. Do I just use them as decorations at the party, wrap each one up, and make her unwrap all 50 of them, put them on the cake at her party? I don't know, help. Cute. So here's the update. 9 days later. Well, I'm happy to report the Calico Critter display was a complete success. On graduation day, we led her to find a little source of inspiration for her speech. It was one of the critters dressed up as her school mascot in valedictorian cords and stole. She took it with her and
wow.
attached it to her lei for good luck. She didn't need the luck. Her speech was flawless and left no dry eyes in the stadium. The next day was her graduation party. Since she was so excited about the one critter, I felt pretty safe giving them all to her with her friends in tow. We set the display up on a wheeled cart and wheeled it out to her while she was posing for pictures. She laughed till her face hurt as she read the poem aloud to everyone. They were all posed in the bleachers and each critter had their own diploma. The diplomas each contained a tiny warm hug message from one of her friends and or loved ones. That's so cute. She, of course, was at the podium giving her speech, and that was playing on my phone as we wheeled out. Thank you all for the incredible ideas. Reddit wins this round of wholesome fun. What a memory for us all. I'm so appreciative of the hundreds of great responses, ideas, awards, and likes. And there's pictures on there too, which I think is really cool. Yeah, so super cute story.
And also good on the mom to, it was a mom, right?
Yes.
To roll with the punches, Like, I could see, some parents being out there that would take great offense to like those kind of jokes.
I think she was probably just saying it funnily though.
Sure,
like,
sure.
Oh,
I'm
you
just
traumatized
saying.
me.
I'm just saying, but even like sometimes like the best of
That's
intentions
true.
like can be taken the wrong way,
Yeah,
or
like,
like,
I
well,
couldn't
I did
afford
everything I
that,
could.
yeah.
Like, can be really defensive, and that's understandable. I might be too. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But to like roll with the punches and to like yes and it a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
In a fun way,
Yeah. All right, on to our news article here. This one comes from abcnews.com, and it is titled 100-Year-Old Veteran Attends First Prom 82 Years After Missing His Own. So there was a veteran who was 80 years after missing his own high school prom because he was called into the military. So he took 2 exams, one for the Navy, one for the Army Air Force. And then because of that, then he ended up having to report for duty. And then when it was time for high school prom, he wasn't able to go. So basically, he was at this Tech Connect Club at this school, the high school, where senior citizens get help with technology assistance. And one of the students in the club heard about this, and like they were like, I think we can help him out with that. So she organized a group of 6 students to make his dream of going to prom come true. They surprised him with a promposal, complete with red, white, and blue balloons, American flags, and a decorated poster with the message 82 years late but right on time. And he accepted the invitation. He said in response, "It never occurred to me that the prom was that important in my lifetime, but when they approached me about it and the way they said it, why them girls were more excited than I was. After I heard them, well, I was just about as excited too. It was so nice of them to even think about it." The whole community got involved to make the night special. There was sponsors involved to try to make it extra fun by helping to give him money to be able to receive a haircut, manicure, and a tux fitting to get ready. And then they had him ride out in a vintage trolley that they decorated with streamers and balloons, and he was greeted by cheers from the students on the dance floor. Wow. He says, "I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this, and I love you all." And he said that in the microphone that evening at the thing. A moment more than 8 decades in the making.
Dang.
Isn't that cool?
That's really sweet.
I know.
And I think that's a pretty good timely one for around 4th of July and stuff. Maybe it would have been better around Veterans Day, but
yeah, 100%.
I still think it fits.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought that was really, really cool. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that is funny. Red, white, and blue. Yeah. That's super cool. But yeah, so with that, we will end today's podcast episode. Tune in 2 weeks for our next episode. Sorry, I almost said next week. But yeah, if you have any positive stories that you would like to share, we would love to share them on here. We had one the last episode from one that someone submitted, and it's super cool for us to read your guys' stories. So if you have anything like that, please feel free to send it our way. And yeah.
And if you're watching YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button or leave a comment.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.
And stay positive.